There are a ton of video game franchises out there, and while I try to experience as many of them as I can, one that's definitely eluded me throughout the years has been Shin Megami Tensei. Now, I played a Shin Megami Tensei on the PlayStation 2, I remember nothing about it, I don't even remember which one it was, and I played the one on the DS, but that game was kind of an offshoot of the mainline Shin Megami Tensei game, so it wasn't really how these games played. But with Shin Megami Tensei V coming to the Nintendo Switch, I really liked what I saw from the gameplay trailers from this game. It looked really cool, and I haven't played a turn-based RPG in quite a while. Well, Sega reached out to me and actually teamed up to sponsor this video to give my thoughts on Shin Megami Tensei V, so huge thank you to Sega, but I didn't want to really review it because I'm pretty much a noob at this franchise. I don't know much about it, and this is the first time I've actually sort of dove in headfirst with this. Now, Shin Megami Tensei games do have sort of notoriety around them for being very difficult, so a lot of new players might not be experienced enough to get into this franchise, but that's sort of what I want to uncover in this video. Can a noob who's not really played any Shin Megami Tensei games previously get into Shin Megami Tensei V for the Nintendo Switch and enjoy the game? So if this is your first time on the channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button, be sure to like and share the video, but without any further ado, let's jump into Shin Megami Tensei V for the Nintendo Switch. Now, the way this video is going to work is I'm going to show you one of my earlier save files, and then I'll show you one a little bit later on in the game because a lot of things in the game change. Now, storyline wise, it's a very interesting story that we won't go too deep into it because of spoilers and things of that nature, but essentially you're a high school kid, you're in a Tokyo transit system, there's lots of weird things happening in Tokyo, you go into a tunnel, the tunnel collapses on you, and then you're in the future of Tokyo. 20 years into the future, there's been a huge war between angels and demons, and that's sort of the crux of the story. Your decisions that you make throughout the game actually impact the story and the conclusion of the story, whether or not you sort of side with the angels or side with the demons. Now, looking at the screen here, you can see what is going on. These are my four characters. Of course, RGT is my main character, and then the other three characters are unlike in other traditional RPGs because they're not human characters. I can change these people out at any time. Basically, while you're playing this game, you are constantly battling different demons. And as you fight these demons, you can actually talk to them and end up collecting them. So kind of like a little bit of a Pokemon style thing to it. I'll show you some of the demon leveling stuff in the later part of the video. But just for now, this is how the game works and this is how the game plays. You can see I'm in a big desert area right now. I know what my mission is, but like I said, I've already done it. But let's just get into a battle real quick. So as I struck this person here, I am now initiating the battle. So that means I get the advantage. On the battle screen here, you can see that there are different things going on. We have the skills, items, guard, talk, change, escape, or pass. Now, these are all pretty self-explanatory. The talk is how you recruit different demons. Change if I want to swipe something out. But basically, you might see a gauge going up in the upper corner of the screen here, and this is at a maximum thing. This is basically like your super attack. And as you play throughout the game, you'll actually get more super attacks added into you via talismans. So it's good to collect those. You'll find them by doing different sorts of side missions and things of that nature. Sometimes you'll just stumble across one in the open world, but it is good to collect those because they'll give you different abilities. Now, I'm going to choose skills, and you can see here that these are my current skills, and this would be the special attack right here. So let's go ahead and select the special attack, and this will be for all of my characters, basically making it so every hit is a critical hit. So that way we're doing maximum damage here. So let's get some attacks going here. Let's take this guy down. Oh, he does not like that. Now, you might notice the player turn thing in the upper corner of the screen. Now, this is very important. You start out with the aforementioned number of turns based on how many characters you have on your squad that are alive. So you start out with 4. But whenever you do a critical attack or do an attack that an opponent is weak against, you actually will get a little light up thing that you see there in the corner. What that means is you've earned another attack. So I love that about the battle system because it keeps you really engaged in it because you want to find out what these opponents' weak points are so that you can exploit this to get the critical attacks or the weak spot attacks and get more attacks for your characters. Now, because we're doing the special thing right now, everything is going to be a critical attack, so we're going to wipe through these dudes pretty easily. But critical attacks are cool because there's actually attacks that are stronger when it does a critical attack on them, meaning meaning that, so basically, you know, this attack might only do like 20, but if it gets a critical attack, it'll do like 100 or something like that. So it's a cool thing to look at. It's a cool thing to get into, and it's really one of the strong points of the game is the combat system, because the story doesn't really throw the story in your face. It's definitely something that is very sort of more subtle, and you can find other characters in the world that'll sort of fill out things. Of course, there are cutscenes and things of that nature, but that's what I really like about this game, is the fact that it's more about the character themselves. It's more about your customization and your characters. But let's take a look at a little bit deeper into the game and show you what I got going on. Alright, so before we get into my current team setup, let's get into some of the more nitty-gritty details of the game. Now, this could feel a little bit overbearing at first. I'll be completely honest. At first, I was a little bit confused, but once you sort of understand everything and just take a little bit of time to sort of realize how this game is played, it becomes a lot easier. So, every time you come across a save point, you come to this area. Now, sometimes when you're playing an RPG, you know, you go to a different town, you go to a blacksmith, things of that nature. You don't do that in this game. Basically, there are large open areas that you explore, and you have to explore these areas and do your main mission in order to get deeper into these areas and even cover across new areas in the game. So it's definitely different in that aspect from a lot of RPGs that I've played. Now, Chronicle Deeds is just your basic save. Leoline Crossing is how you go to other areas in the game, so you can actually go back at any point in time to other areas in the game via this way. Cadaver's Hollow is where you buy different things, and the World of Shadows is where things definitely sort of stand apart from other RPG games, because you could do a lot of stuff in here. So we're going to go over this very briefly. You know, there is explanations, like I said, so if you ever sort of forget something, it's right there to remind you. But basically, the demon fusion has you taking different demons and making other demons out of them. So if I wanted to take my jack-o'-lantern, I can make, like with the jack-o'-lantern and the bugs, I can make this thing, whatever this is. So you know what, for this video, we're actually going to do it. Now, the different essences are basically what the character does for moves and whatnot, and the more your character levels up, the more moves you have access to. So if I were to make this fusion, I could actually choose one of these things that's on the screen right now to add to this character. So taking the other essences from the other characters and putting them into the game. There's lots of essences in this game, and like I said, it can be a bit overwhelming, because you come down here and there's Learn Miracles and Essence Fusion. You get things called glory, and the glory in the game actually uses as like a sort of a currency. There is just a standard currency that you use in the game, but these allow you to do different things to your main character, sort of things that you won't do for the other characters. And then of course, like I said, we have the essence fusion, where you could take these different demons that I have, take away abilities from them and put them on a different demon. So like I said, it's a lot of learning, but once it clicks, and it will click, because I mean, I'm not the brightest crayon in the box, but I managed to figure it all out. It definitely feels very satisfying, and there's a lot of fun to be had with it. So as you can see here, my party is vastly different than it just was, with a lot of different characters. As you encounter more demons, you're going to want stronger level demons and make demon fusions and things of that nature, so you're going to get a more interesting cast. Of course, all the demons have their own type. They're strong against certain elements, weaker against other elements. A lot of fun things to figure out within the combat system of the game. Now, I will say the game, even though it has two difficulties, well, technically it has three difficulties. It has a normal, a casual, and a hard mode. All because it says casual, that doesn't mean it's going to be easy. It's definitely a challenging JRPG game, but I mean, you can platform in it. Who doesn't like platforming in their JRPGs? I don't know, I just wanted to show off the platforming, but yeah, it could be a challenging game regardless of what difficulty you played it on. I've played it on both the normal and the casual difficulty, and the casual was a little bit easier, but you know, it's still kind of daunting. You know, you're still gonna die. Make sure you save a lot, just like in any RPG, because I mean, you don't want to lose out on time. You can see right now we're in a completely different area. I just came across a fairy area where all the human characters are being held, but let's get into a little fight ski so you can see my new characters and their new attacks. Oh wow, we've got a lot of characters that we're going up against here. All right, you know, no big deal. Let's just hit them with a little ba 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 ba. I wish I got a critical there, but you could see the action portion of the screen and how it's dependent on getting things like criticals in order to get more attacks, which I really like because it keeps the combat fresh throughout, because you're always, you know, hopeful, like, oh, well, maybe I'll get that critical. Maybe I'll do an attack that, you know, the character doesn't like or the character is weak against or something of that nature. So I think that's pretty cool. You can see here that all of my characters have sort of different skills and they do different things better than other characters. Some of them are more strong in just terms of physicality. Some of them are more strong in terms of things like magic. It really just depends on which character I'm using. Now you see there, my character resisted that. Now I'm weak against that, but I mean, that attack wasn't very strong. These dudes kind of suck, to be honest with you. They're not very strong, but they are gearing up for a special attack. So I either need to kill them very quickly or I need to guard in order to avoid that. Now, one thing I do want to show you though is I'm actually going to attack this guy over here instead of attacking the main character. Oh, I got a critical, which means I get another attack, and we'll do the same thing with this. There's one thing I really like about the combat system in this game, and that is, so we're going to use a skill of this character here. I'm not going to try to say that name, but looking at it, because I fought one of these characters before and tried this attack on this character, you'll see that it has a little red sort of shield thing, meaning that they're pretty much impervious to this and they'll probably more than likely block this attack. So I like that because it sort of reminds you, hey, don't do this attack on this character because it's not going to do any sort of major damage to them. So that's something I think is really cool about the combat system. Another thing I really like about it is the fact that when you are collecting your demons, you have to be a certain level. So like if I'm a level 20 and I'm talking to a level 24 demon, I can talk to them, but I won't be able to capture them quite yet. But if I come back as a level 24 after successfully negotiating with that demon, then I will be able to actually recruit them and put them in my party. Now we got a little leveling up here with Shiza. I guess that's how you say it, Shiza. But yeah, I think I've given a great overview of this game and why it's fun and what makes it unique compared to other JRPGs. It's a challenging game, but if you're a noob who's never played a Shin Megami Tensei game and you sort of understand what's going on here and you sort of understand my explanations, I think you're going to have a lot of fun with it. It can be a bit frustrating because it is difficult, but there's such a rewarding factor when you're playing the game and you successfully beat a boss that you've been stuck on because you finally figured out the right team lineup to take him down, or you finally figured out the right attack that he's really weak against. And it's almost like an adult Pokemon. Like, I hate to say that because, you know, it's kind of cliche, but the whole demon collecting thing and getting different demons and fusing different demons, like, it definitely feels a bit like an adult Pokemon game. So can a noob enjoy Shin Megami Tensei V? I mean, I'm a noob to this franchise and I've been definitely enjoying it. I think if you're accustomed to other JRPGs and turn-based RPGs, you'll be able to settle in pretty quickly. Now, if you've never played a turn-based RPG, it can be pretty daunting. There are a lot of things to learn and a lot of different mechanics, but I don't feel like, you know, first-time players of a JRPG will be checking this out. But even if you are, if this is your first JRPG, you'll be fine. You'll die a lot and you'll probably get very frustrated, but if you're willing to put in the time and effort, I think you'll have a good time. But if you've ever played another JRPG, especially a turn-based JRPG, you'll feel right at home with this game, and I've just been absolutely loving it. It's a huge adventure. I'm already like 20 some odd hours deep into this game, and I'm just sort of scraping the tip of the iceberg, so you're gonna get a lot of replay value out of this game. And when you beat the game, there's a hard mode that I'll never play. But let me know in the comment section down below what you think of this game. What are you planning on picking up Shin Megami Tensei V? Have you played other Shin Megami Tensei games? And if so, what games do you recommend in the franchise? And as always, guys, thank you for checking out this video. A huge thank you to Sega for sponsoring this video. You guys are too kind. I wanted to check out this game anyways, but secure the bag, baby. Secure the bag. And as always, I'll catch you guys on the next video. Later.